They called it Hamburger Hill because that's what we became. Ground meat, human hamburger. 72 Americans killed, 400 wounded, 10 days of fighting. Then we abandoned it, and the NVA moved right back in. That's Vietnam. That's the whole fucking war in one battle. I was infantry, 101st Airborne Division, 3rd Battalion, 187th Infantry, the Rakkasans. Arrived in country March of 1969, 19 years old, high school dropout from Detroit. Drafted, didn't have the money for college, didn't have connections to Dodge, so they gave me a rifle and sent me to the jungle. Sent me to die for a war nobody believed in anymore. By May of '69, everyone knew Vietnam was a lost cause. The Tet Offensive the year before had broken America's will. Walter Cronkite said the war was unwinnable. The protests were massive. Nixon was talking about Vietnamization, code for getting out, pulling American troops, handing it over to the South Vietnamese. But we were still fighting, still dying, still humping through the jungle, still getting our asses shot off for hills that didn't have names, just numbers. Hill 937. That's what they called it officially. Apia Mountain to the Vietnamese. We called it Hamburger Hill. My name is Marcus Webb. Everyone called me Webb. Never Marcus. Never Private Webb. Just Webb. That's how it was in Vietnam. First names, nicknames. Nobody used rank unless officers were around. We were too close, too intimate. Lived together, fought together, died together. The A Shau Valley. That's where Hamburger Hill was, near the Laotian border, NVA country, North Vietnamese Army. Not the Viet Cong guerrillas. These were professional soldiers, well-trained, well-equipped, dug into fortified bunkers with overlapping fields of fire. They'd been on that hill for years, knew every inch, every approach, every killing zone. And we were ordered to take it, not because it was strategic, not because it mattered, but because they wanted to prove we could, because body count was how we measured success in Vietnam. Kill more of them than they kill of us. That's victory. That's the metric. So they sent 3 battalions up that hill, told us to take it, no matter the cost, no matter how many men we lost. Take the hill. Prove we can. Get a good body count for the weekly briefing. The first assault was May 11th, 1969. We thought it would be easy, quick. Intelligence said there was maybe a company of NVA up there. Light resistance. We'd clear it in a day, 2 at most. Intelligence was wrong. There were 4 battalions of NVA. Over 1,000 men, dug in, fortified, waiting for us. We walked right into it. Walked into a meat grinder that would run for 10 days, that would turn Hamburger Hill into a symbol, a rallying cry for the anti-war movement, proof that Vietnam was insane. They weren't wrong. It was insane. All of it. The war, the strategy, the politics, the dying. Especially the dying. The jungle was triple canopy, so thick you couldn't see the sky, couldn't see more than 10 feet in any direction. Hot, humid. The air was like breathing through a wet blanket. We humped up that hill carrying 70 pounds of gear, rifles, ammunition, water, rations, radios, mortars, everything. The NVA let us get halfway up before they opened fire. Machine guns, AK-47s, RPGs, mortars, everything at once. The jungle exploded, trees splintering, men screaming. The sound was overwhelming, deafening. You couldn't think, couldn't process, just react, hit the ground, return fire, try not to die. I saw the guy next to me, Jenkins from Ohio, take an AK round through the neck. Just sprayed blood everywhere. He grabbed at his throat. Tried to stop it, couldn't. Drowned in his own blood in about 30 seconds. I was close enough to hear him gurgling, choking, dying. I kept firing. What else could I do? Stop and help him. He was already dead. Stop and I'd be dead too. So I kept firing at shadows in the jungle, at muzzle flashes, at nothing and everything. Pull back! Pull back! Someone was shouting. Lieutenant? Sergeant? Couldn't tell. Couldn't see. Just heard the order and started crawling backward. Down the hill, away from the NVA positions. We dragged our wounded with us, left the dead. Had to. No choice. The NVA would strip them, take their weapons, their gear, their dog tags. We'd come back for them later, if there was a later. We regrouped at the base, did a head count. Started with 32 men in my platoon. Came back with 23, 9 casualties in the first 30 minutes. That's when we knew. This wasn't going to be easy. This wasn't going to be quick. The CO called in air support. F-4 Phantoms. They came in low. Dropped napalm on the hilltop. We watched from below. Saw the jungle burn. Saw the fireballs. Heard the explosions. Thought maybe that would do it. Maybe that would clear them out. It didn't. The NVA were in bunkers, underground, reinforced. The napalm burned the jungle but didn't touch them. When the smoke cleared, they were still there, still shooting, still killing. "We're going again," the lieutenant said. "Same route. Stay together. Keep low. Watch for bunkers." Nobody said anything. What was there to say? Orders were orders. We'd go back up that hill, back into the meat grinder, keep going until we took it or died trying. We went up again at dusk, made it a little farther this time, maybe 2/3 of the way. Then the NVA opened up again. Same result. More casualties, more screaming, more blood, more retreat. That night, we could hear the NVA moving around, reinforcing positions, dragging away their dead, getting ready for tomorrow, getting ready to kill more of us. We sat in our positions, cold sea rations, warm water, trying not to think about Jenkins, about the others, about how many more would die tomorrow, about how many more assaults it would take, how many more days. We didn't know yet, didn't know it would be 10 days, didn't know it would be 72 dead, didn't know it would become Hamburger Hill, but we knew it was bad. Knew it was going to get worse. We were right. Days 2 through 5 blurred together. Same routine. Artillery bombardment at dawn, airstrikes, then the assault, up the hill, hit the NVA positions, take casualties, pull back, regroup, try again. The casualties mounted, every day, every assault. The NVA had the high ground, had prepared positions, had interlocking fields of fire. They'd shoot us to pieces. We'd call in support, bomb them, shell them, then go up again, and they'd still be there, still shooting, still killing. The jungle was shredded, trees knocked down, craters everywhere. The hillside looked like the moon, barren, blasted, nothing green left, nothing living except us and them, and we were trying our best to kill each other. The rain started on day 3. Monsoon rain turned everything to mud. The hillside became a mudslide. You couldn't walk, couldn't climb, just slip and slide, fall down, crawl, pull yourself up by roots and stumps, all while bullets cracked overhead and mortars fell and men screamed. We stopped recovering our dead. Too many, too dangerous. They just lay there, on the hillside, in the mud, bloating in the heat. The smell was unbearable. Death and cordite and napalm and mud all mixed together. You'd breathe it in, taste it, feel it coat your lungs. I saw things on that hill I can't unsee, things I won't describe. Bodies torn apart, men dying slow, calling for medics who couldn't reach them, calling for their mothers, for God, for anyone, just screaming until they didn't have the strength anymore, until they just stopped. The medics were heroes, Doc Martinez especially. He'd run into fire to reach wounded men, patch them up, drag them back. I watched him do it a dozen times. Watched him save lives while bullets buzzed around him like angry bees. He got hit on day 6, RPG, direct hit. There wasn't enough left to put in a body bag. The replacements kept coming, fresh troops, straight from the rear. They'd look at us, the ones who'd been there from the start. and they'd see ghosts. That's what we were. Ghosts. Dead men still walking, still fighting. We'd stopped being human around day 3, just became machines, killing machines, survival machines, nothing else. One new guy couldn't have been more than 18. He froze during an assault, just stopped, stood there, staring. The NVA cut him down. He died on his first day, first hour, hadn't even learned his name. By day 7, we'd taken the summit, sort of. We had positions on top. So did the NVA. We were fighting bunker to bunker, trench to trench, throwing grenades, using flamethrowers, close combat. You could hear the NVA talking. They were that close, meters away, fighting the same battle from the other side. The order came down. Take the bunkers. Clear them out. Finish it. Clearing bunkers is nightmare work. Dark, cramped. You throw in grenades, wait for the explosion, rush in before the smoke clears, shoot anything that moves. Hope it's not your buddy from another squad. Hope the bunker isn't booby-trapped. Hope you don't catch a bullet in the dark. I cleared 3 bunkers on day 8. Don't remember much. Just darkness and muzzle flashes and screaming and the wet sound of bullets hitting flesh. When it was over, I was covered in blood. Wasn't sure how much was mine. Turned out none of it was. All of it was theirs. The NVA in those bunkers. Young men, my age, dead now. Killed by me in the dark under a hill that didn't matter. Day 9, we controlled most of the summit. The NVA were down to a few bunkers. Holdouts, diehards. They weren't retreating, weren't surrendering, just fighting to the death, which meant we had to kill them all. Every single one. No choice. They wouldn't give up, so we had to root them out. Bunker by bunker, man by man, until the hill was ours. My platoon was down to 11 men. Started with 32, 21 casualties. Dead or wounded so bad they were medevaced out. The 11 of us who were left, we weren't soldiers anymore. We were survivors, predators, something else entirely. We moved through the NVA positions like machines. No emotion, no hesitation. Just mechanical, methodical. Clear the bunker. Move to the next. Clear it. Move on. Bodies everywhere. Ours. Theirs. Didn't matter. Just obstacles now. Things to step over. One bunker had a wounded NVA soldier, gut shot, dying slow. He looked at me, said something in Vietnamese. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the meaning. Kill me. End it. Don't let me die like this. I shot him, clean, quick, merciful. The only mercy on Hamburger Hill. We took the summit on day 10, May 20th. The battle was over. The hill was ours. We'd done it. Accomplished the mission. Victory. Except it didn't feel like victory. It felt like waste, like pointless slaughter. 72 Americans dead, 400 wounded. Body count of NVA was high, over 600 confirmed, maybe more. We'd won by the metrics, killed more of them than they killed of us. But what did we win? A hill, a worthless hill in the middle of nowhere. No strategic value, no tactical importance. Just a hill that happened to have NVA on it, so we had to take it. And then, 2 weeks later, we abandoned it, just walked away, left it empty. The NVA moved right back in, reoccupied the positions we'd paid for in blood, everything we'd done, everyone who died, all of it for nothing. The press went crazy. Hamburger Hill became a scandal. Senators demanded answers. Why did we take a hill just to abandon it? Why did 72 men die for nothing? What was the strategy? What was the point? There was no point. That was the answer. There was no strategy. Just body count. Just proving we could. Just nothing. Meaningless, futile, stupid. The anti-war movement exploded. Hamburger Hill became a symbol, proof that Vietnam was unwinnable, that we were dying for nothing, that the war needed to end. They were right. It did need to end. Should have ended years earlier. Should have never started. But it didn't end. Not for years. Not until 1975. 6 more years. Thousands more dead. All for nothing. I rotated home in August of 1969. Came back to America, to Detroit, to a country that hated the war, that hated us for fighting in it. Welcome home, soldier. Baby killer. War criminal. Murderer. That's what they called us. That's how we were treated. My breaking point came 3 weeks after I got home. September of 1969. I was at a bar in Detroit, trying to adjust, trying to feel normal, trying to remember what it was like to be civilian, to be human, to be something other than a survivor of Hamburger Hill. A guy came up to me, college kid, long hair, peace symbol on his jacket. He'd seen my unit patch, recognized the 101st Airborne, knew I was Vietnam. You were over there? He asked. Yeah. Kill any babies? I just looked at him. Couldn't process what he'd said. Couldn't understand how someone could ask that. Could reduce everything I'd seen, everything I'd done, everything I'd survived, to that, to baby killer. You're a murderer, he said, getting louder, drawing attention. You're a fucking war criminal. You should be in prison. You dash. I hit him, broke his nose, maybe his jaw. Don't remember. Just remember the rage, the fury, all the horror of Hamburger Hill, all the guilt, all the grief, all the trauma, pouring out in violence, in my fists, in his blood. They pulled me off him, threw me out. Cops came, arrested me, assault. I spent the night in jail. They let me go in the morning. The college kid didn't press charges. Smart. He knew he'd started it. But something broke in me that night. Some final piece. Some last thread connecting me to the person I'd been before Vietnam, before Hamburger Hill, before I became a killer in the jungle. I started drinking, heavily, every day, trying to forget, trying to sleep without seeing the faces, hearing the screams, smelling the death. The booze didn't work, but I kept trying anyway. What else was there? Got fired from jobs, got arrested again and again. Public intoxication, disorderly conduct, assault. The charges piled up. The VA hospital tried to help, put me in programs, gave me pills, talked about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. New term, new diagnosis, same old story. Soldiers broken by war. I couldn't hold down work, couldn't maintain relationships, couldn't function. The jungle was still there, in my head, always there. I'd be walking down a Detroit street and suddenly I'd be back on Hamburger Hill, back in the bunkers, back killing NVA soldiers in the dark. My family tried to help, couldn't. How could they? They didn't understand, couldn't understand. They'd seen Vietnam on TV, sanitized, edited, news footage that didn't show the reality, didn't show what it was really like, what we really did, what really happened to us. The weddings, the family dinners, the normal life everyone expected me to rejoin. I couldn't pretend, couldn't fake it, couldn't be the person they wanted me to be, the person I'd been before. That person was dead, died on Hamburger Hill. What came back was something else, something broken, something violent, something that didn't belong in civilian life, something that would never belong anywhere. 13 years now. 13 years since Hamburger Hill. 13 years since Vietnam, since the war ended, since Saigon fell and we all watched it on TV and pretended we weren't relieved that it was finally over. I'm 32 years old, no wife, no kids, no career. I work odd jobs, construction mostly, day labor, cash under the table, no commitment, no questions, no explanations. I live alone. Small apartment in Detroit, not much in it. Bed, table, chair, TV. I barely watch. Don't need much, don't want much, just somewhere to exist between jobs, between days, between nightmares. The nightmares never stopped, every night, sometimes multiple times. I'm back there, back on the hill, back in the mud and blood and death, back watching Jenkins die, back clearing bunkers, back shooting wounded NVA soldiers who beg for mercy, back being 19 years old and scared and violent and broken. I wake up screaming, covered in sweat, heart pounding, takes hours to calm down, to remember where I am, when I am, that it's over, that I survived, that I'm home, except I'm not home. Never came home. Part of me is still on Hamburger Hill. Will always be on Hamburger Hill, dying over and over, forever. I tried the VA again last year. New therapist, younger, didn't serve. She asked about Vietnam, about what I saw, what I did, what haunts me. I told her about Hamburger Hill, about the 10 days, about the 72 dead, about killing NVA soldiers, about how we abandoned the hill 2 weeks later, about how it was all for nothing. She said I needed to forgive myself, to understand that I was following orders, that I was young, that I did what I had to do to survive, that it wasn't my fault. She doesn't understand. It's not about fault. It's not about forgiveness. It's about the fact that it happened, that I was there, that I did those things, that I survived when others didn't, that 72 men died for a hill we abandoned, that all of it was pointless, meaningless, waste. You can't forgive that, can't process that, can't make peace with that. You just carry it, forever, the weight of it, the knowledge of it, the horror of it. I don't go to veteran groups, don't talk to other Vietnam vets. We understand each other too well, see too much in each other's eyes. The same emptiness, the same ghosts, the same inability to ever fully leave that jungle, that war, that horror. Sometimes I think about the NVA soldier I mercy killed, the wounded one in the bunker. I think about how he was ready to die, how he wanted it, how I gave him that peace. I envy him. He got to die in Vietnam, got to end it there, in the place, in the moment, clean, final. I survived, got to come home, got to live. But I'm not living, just existing, just haunting this civilian world like a ghost, a remnant, something left over from a war nobody wants to remember. I fought on Hamburger Hill, survived, came home, but I never came home, and none of us did.